It's May 19th. Are we all rich? I'm recording this on a Sunday. Of course, CME Futures comes out today. I've said this time and time again. Never fall in love with a date, but we're going to take a look at the data and the information. We're also going to take a look at some bombshell information. Tom Lee, who's kind of been on all of these shows talking up Bitcoin and other crypto assets, actually saying some really solid things about XRP, which I can confirm. We're also going to take a look at how the XRP ledger is going to be used to tokenize real estate all over the world. A lot of really cool information in this one, guys. I hope you get value. If you do, please hit like. Please leave a comment down below. It does help the channel grow, and we are on our way to 100,000 subscribers thanks to all of your support through the years. Thank you so much. All right. So, boom, CME Group, XRP Futures goes live tomorrow. What is going to happen? Well, this video is going to come out tomorrow. Like I said, I'm recording this on a Sunday. I personally don't think this is going to make too much of an impact in one day, but we have to go through all of these motions. We have to get, the biggest derivatives exchanges in the world starting to use these new financial assets. And, this could definitely start jump starting the value coming on chain and inside of the ecosystem. Here is Jake Claver talking about the impact on, stuff like XRP ETFs and all this other stuff. Let me play this for you.
Are the XRP ETFs expected to come online May 19th to 21st? And if not, when? If so, do you expect price appreciation before or more after so? Both. I do anticipate the ETFs potentially going live in the date range that you mentioned there. We saw a run up in Bitcoin previous to the spot ETFs being listed. So I do anticipate something similar for XRP. I think we've already started to see that back in November, December last year when we started to see the spot ETFs come out and be applied for. However, if we did see BlackRock and some of these other players start to aggregate their share in the market, we could absolutely see a price run up all the way through the 19th and 21st of this month and into the listing of those ETFs.
All right, we're going to see, guys. I am keeping an open mind about what is next. I still think we are in a very speculative market and, speculation rules. When we get to a utility market, that's when, you're right, you guessed it, utility will rule. So until then, we are still, I think XRP is worth $3. No, I think XRP is worth $2.50. I mean, this is kind of where we are right now still, as Bitcoin and other assets are gaining value. XRP, of course, I do think will gain its own market share because of how uniquely it's set for financial companies, financial service companies to be able to use tokenized assets, real estate, tokenized debt, all of these different things. And then you're also talking about ProShares futures, base XRP ETFs, and all of these different filing dates. These are a little bit further down though. Like look, October. These are like way far down. These are a little bit more recent, but these were like last month and these got pushed out, right? So it's going to be interesting to see, like, once they approve one of these, I would imagine it's going to put a lot of pressure to approve the rest of them. So that way one company or institution doesn't have the whole market to themselves for whatever time that period is. So I would imagine since XRP is the most sought after ETF, spot ETF right now, compared to like Litecoin, Solana, even Ethereum, people are really interested in this product. We'll see how this all goes. So Tom Lee makes a bold call. XRP holders can see explosive gains. So I just want to say, hey, did Tom Lee talk about XRP, right? I try to fact check everything now I see on Twitter. Sometimes I'll put the statements in, I'll put the photos in, so it'll scan the photo and I can really, like, in real time tell if somebody is bullshitting or not, which is really helpful when it comes to my job talking with you about what is real and what isn't real out here. I think I've seen just an uptick in just false and wrong information in the XRP space. And I have, fought the last few years to really try to make sure that everything that I am telling you is factual. So here is what Tom Lee actually said. Tom Lee, well-known Wall Street strategist and co-founder of Fundstris Global Advisors, has recently made headlines with his optimistic outlook on XRP. Lee believes that XRP could be poised for a significant breakout, potentially leading the next major crypto bull run. His bullish stance based on several key factors, and these key factors are regulatory clarity. Lee points out the ongoing lawsuit between Ripple Labs and the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission. He suggests that as the case moves forward, resolution, especially if the outcome is favorable for Ripple, regulatory uncertainty will diminish, potentially attracting both institutional and retail investors back to XRP, which I think we've already started to see that. You also talking about institutional adoption was another point he highlighted. Lee highlights Ripple's growing partnerships with banks and payment providers worldwide, noting that increased adoption in emerging markets could substantially boost demand for XRP. Love to hear that. macro trends with global attention shifting towards decentralized finance, the blockchain and blockchain technology. It's Sunday. Bear with me. Lee argues that XRP stands to benefit from these broader trends, and then also technical indicators. According to Lee's team at Fundstrat, technical analysts on XRP chart pattern reveals bullish signals suggesting a possible price surge in the upcoming months. Now, if we've looked at previous cycles, we understand that the summer can be a little boring, can be a little dull. People are on vacation. Not as many people are actively trading. So we're starting to wonder, as Bitcoin is, 106, 107, starting to climb, is that still going to remain true? Is the summer going to be boring? It sure doesn't feel like that the way things are starting to line up right now. Also, Lee has discussed scenarios when XRP could see dramatic price increases, especially if Bitcoin reaches highs of like 200,000, 250,000. Could you imagine $20 to $34 XRP? That would be pretty nice. In this cycle, obviously, everyone's always looking for more. Like a strategy that you could use here. If you don't think that this is the cycle for institutional adoption, you could try to sell as much XRP at the top and then rebuy it as the market bottoms out. Obviously, depending where you live and what state and what country and blah, 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 there's going to be tax. If you're selling crypto, you're going to have to pay tax and all that stuff. So please check with an expert in your area of what that would look like. But I know some people are looking to make some of these, adjustments and try to, maybe double or triple or quadruple up their XRP bags. I know I will be looking for opportunities out here in the streets. All right, here is from Vet. Real estate tokenized on the XRP ledger, actual proof on chain, can be used in XRPL decentralized finance. Currently, they tokenize 2 properties. It looks like it was created TL for 5 in total, but looking at 2 so far. So here is kind of the information, the wallet address, kind of, different conversion currencies. But if you look here, you can see 1.527 million and of course 1.579 million. Obviously, the more value that we can tokenize and bring on ledger, the more value will live on chain and the chain will be more valuable. That is what we're trying to do here. You also have Dubai just did what the rest of the world only talks about. They're starting to tokenize real estate on the XRP ledger. Yes, it's a real thing. The pilot is live and this could change everything. All right, so let's see what this person is saying. The pilot has begun on March 19, 2025. Dubai Land Department, DLD, launched the pilot phase into real estate tokenized project. It's the first move of its kind in the Middle East, and it's built on blockchain. The Power Move XRPL, the entire initiative runs on the XRPL mainnet. That means fast, efficient, traceable transactions, all backed by real property titles. No theory, no vaporware, just real assets on chain. What's tokenized? I don't think I really need to read that to you guys. I think you understand that. But if you want to pause it right here and take a look, you know what? Let me do my job here. DLD is converting title deeds into digital tokens. These are real government recognized ownership certificates now on blockchain. It's regulatory compliance meets crypto innovation. You're talking about fractional ownership is coming. Imagine how owning 5% of luxury Dubai penthouses. That's the vision behind fractional ownership. It's not live yet, but it's part of the pilot. And when it drops, doors will open and the global micro investors will come. This is talking about 16 billion in play. When we're 16 billion is not, trillions and trillions of dollars. But what I want you to think here is when we talk about ETFs coming into play and how much value that could actually bring into the XRP ecosystem, there's a lot of experts and analysts that believe in the first year, I think it was like JP Morgan thinks that $3 to $8 billion could come into XRP through these different ETFs. And so when you're looking at 16 billion in play, now you're talking maybe, 2 or 3x what JP Morgan was initially thinking in the first year. So obviously any bit of value is going to help us, especially if we have a market multiplier effect on this 16 billion. So, if the market multiplier is a 50 or 100x, this could be incredibly big for the actual price of XRP. We just need to see when we get there what this value is actually going to do to the chain. It says Dubai projects AED 60 billion. 16 billion in tokenized real estates by 2033. So this is another 8 years, ladies and gentlemen. This is quite some time. So please take that under, not advisement, but just understand that this is not something that it's like tomorrow we got 16 bill tomorrow. This is like shit, 8 years. It's a long time. And that's 7% of real estate transactions. This isn't a trial. It's transition. Is it a transition though, when you're just testing things and it's like 2033? Okay. Real titles, real trust. Okay, we get it. Let's keep it going. This video is brought to you by What.Exchange, built on the Orderly Network. This is a community-driven, decentralized, perpetual exchange. The UI is off the chain and it looks really, really good. We also have over $100 billion in trading volume on 71 different currency pairs. The supported chains currently are AVAX, Base, Optimism, Arbitrum, Ethereum, Mantle, Solana, and I hear they are trying to add more as we speak. The fees on this are 0.05% taker and 0.02% maker. It is very, very quick, high speed. Unlock additional benefits, advanced order and algorithmic order executions also coming soon. Seamless trading, decentralized trading, enhanced security and self-custody. And you can also stake the What token to receive up to 90% revenue share and also more features. They also have a really good looking UI. Like I said, it has a great order book. Yes, you can trade XRP on here as well with up to 20x leverage if you so choose to. When it comes to security, Orderly has been audited by multiple security firms, including Halburn, Zellick, Guardian audits. You can get all of that information in their documentation in their GitHub right here. Just scroll all the way down to the bottom. As you can see, the documentation is here next to the staking. The communities are Discord and X. And here is the roadmap through 2025 and beyond. There is a link down in the description of this video. I hope you can use my link. That really does help me out, and have fun trading on What.Exchange. Let's get back into the video. There's also this LJ. Oh, I thought I couldn't break this news yet, but seems like DLD already did. Dubai land, right? We just talked about this. Mortgage, Golden Visa, exclusives, blocks. And then, of course, Riz posted this. Ripple is set to power cross-border payments in the UAE, tapping into a $400 billion market. You know, it talks about Dubai's D33 plan. We did talk a little bit about some of this. It says Ripple is now set to power cross-border payments in the UAE, tapping into a $400 billion market. Now, that is pretty juicy. If we can start really, dipping into this value, that could really start to change the game. And I want you to think this is back in 2018. In 2018, 7 years ago, XRP had a higher market cap than it does today. Let that sink in for a second. 7 years ago, before I was here, and I bet a lot of you were here too, XRP had a higher market cap than today's market cap. Where do you think this is all going? All right. I mean, think of what the last 7 years was like. You had the Ripple case, you had, going into stable coins, going into custody. There's so many unique challenges that Ripple has taken on over the last few years. And I think that's really jump-started their ability to work with banks and financial institutions. You also have this looks a little, you start to wonder, what could regulation look like here in the US if this is what MiCA regulation looks like. So UK to require crypto firms to report every customer transactions. The UK just proposed a major shift in crypto asset regulation. The draft rules from HM Treasury bring trading, custody, staking stablecoins under existing UK financial laws, embedding crypto into the FSMA framework rather than building a separate regime. A few key contrasts for MiCA, lending, borrowing, staking are explicitly in scope. Foreign stablecoin issuers do not need UK authorization. No whitelist, no cap, no stablecoin volumes. Supervisory equivalents may be allowed to ease cross-border flows. But what I think was interesting here, I know some of you might look at this and, with these rules a little bit more strict, but this is speaking differently to me. This is reminding me that the UK is taking crypto very seriously, more serious than the US has because of the last, 4 to 8 years. Remember, Trump term 1, they didn't take crypto too seriously in Trump term 1, and Biden just destroyed crypto in America for those 4 years. So for the past 8 years, we really haven't done too much here in the United States. Now Trump 2.0, he's trying to do all of these, things and moving the crypto market forward, keeping the promises that he made to the people that voted for him. But what surprises me here is when you start to use cryptocurrency in the financial payment infrastructure of how serious this is, right? If you're talking about stocks, bonds, derivatives, any type of financial assets coming on chain and transacting, they want to keep a close, tie and knit on all of this. And this is kind of screaming that some of these crypto assets and stablecoins will be used on a higher level than I think we are even comprehending right now. And I think this is going to get real serious pretty quickly. And this could lead to, of course, what we're all trying to get to, which is early retirement, right? All right, guys, have a good week ahead. Hopefully XRP is pumping from the CME thing. Hopefully. All right. I'll see you next time. Aloha. I'm a crypto sensei. Have a good week.